Hey YouTube, Madam Roy back once again. Well, today I got the tripod out, and what we're going to do is I want to go ahead and add a second hard drive to this my DOS gaming machine. I know that I said that I was going to go ahead and put in a compact flash card, and I do still plan on doing that, but it's not going to be right away. That one compact flash card that I got really isn't going to be a good fit for this computer, I don't think. So I'm going to go ahead and look online a little bit more and maybe try to find like a 4 gigabyte one. But for now, I do want to have some kind of redundant backup on this. So I don't know if you guys remember, I did a video on about a compact that I got at the thrift store. This is the same one that I got the sound card that is now in this computer out of. Well, I also found this. This is a Fujitsu model MPB3052AT. I just looked it up online. This is a 5.2 gigabyte hard drive. So I said to myself, I think this would be a good match as a redundant backup for this computer. Now, the internal hard drive in this computer is 4 gigabytes, so it's definitely close enough in size. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and try to find a spot in this tower for this new hard drive. Alright, so let's go ahead and take this side cover off. Remember, this one does stick a little bit. There we go. Just got to play with it for a minute. Okay, so we have an extra cable connection right here. Let's see if I can zoom you guys in here a little bit. An extra hard drive connection right here and an extra power cable. So I think the best place to put this hard drive is going to be right here in this bracket. Now, I don't believe this is a cable select hard drive cable, so I'm assuming that this is probably in the master, so I need to put this on the slave setting. Let's see, that is, if you look on here, that's this middle one right here. So I gotta go ahead and change the pin out real quick. Let's see if I can match that up here. Okay. Should be the 2 on the bottom and the 2 first. So the pin for the slave connector is going to look just like that. I don't know if you guys can see that too well. Alright, now let me go ahead and get a screw and we'll go ahead and put this in. Okay, so I found something to go ahead and put that in. It's one of these screws from a case that's usually used to close a case. But it should work just fine here. Let's see if I can manipulate this drive in place. Okay. That's on that side, so I think... It's going to be a little tricky. I'm going to have to put this in upside down here. That is definitely a tight fit. So I can find that other screw hole. Well, it looks like this is really not made for a hard drive because none of the screw holes here really line up unless I do it like that, and unfortunately that's not going to work. Well, I'm going to have to figure some other way to put this in here, so I'll be back with you guys in just a few minutes. Alright, I'm back. Well, I didn't really want to do this, but there's no way that the hard drive is going to fit down here. The only other option I had was to put it right under the Zip 100 drive. And because in this case, my Zip 100 drive, I really don't use it. It's not really accessible through Windows and DOS. I figured let's go ahead and stick this other hard drive in instead. So, what I'm going to do is go ahead and, whoop, dropped it, screw this in. I should just need one screw here. Let me see real quick. Yeah, it looks like it's just going to fit. Looks like it's just going to hold that one screw, and I think this should be fine because this is a pretty strong case type screw. So we'll go ahead and put this on. And I'll use this to tighten up as much as I can. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's not going anywhere. Yeah, so basically I'm not going to bother using the zip drive on this at all. And I kind of figured that I wouldn't. You know, if I ever want to, I can go ahead and unplug the hard drive and just plug the zip drive back in. But I'm going to leave it in there because I don't think I have a blank for this computer case. So go ahead and plug in the IDE cable and plug in the power cable. Now, all I have to do is go ahead and put this computer case back, and we'll go ahead and give it a try. Be back with you guys in a minute. Alright guys, I had another thought about the zip drive, seeing as I don't use it at all. I went in my closet and I found this right here. This is a floppy disk cable that will allow me to put 2 floppy drives in there. And of course, being the geek that I am, of course I have probably about 100 of these floppy drives laying around. So I said to myself, why don't I go ahead and put in a second floppy here instead? So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. I'm going to go ahead and hopefully there's just one screw here. I'm going to take this screw out and see if we can pop this floppy drive out. I'm sorry, the zip drive out. May have to take the front bezel off this. It's been a long time since I've actually removed the front of this case. So you can see it, push those tabs, and the whole thing just pops right out of there. Now, let's see how we do this here. Okay. I think there is another screw on the other side, so let's take a look here. Just so you guys know, I guess you guys can't see me here, to pop the other end off of this case, you have to pop this little tab up on top, and there's one on the bottom, and it just slides back and off, just like that. And yep, right here is the other screw, so we'll take care of that now. Okay, that screws out, and now this should just pop right out of place. And there we go. There's the old Zip 100 drive. Let's see if she'll focus on that. There we go. And there's the information about it. It was made, looks like, in the year 2000. This happens to be an NEC model, but it is the iGo Mega zip drive. Now, to put the other floppy in, I have to take out the 2 screws here. So I'm not going to do the rest of this because you guys pretty much can figure out how that goes, and it just comes out and then you slide it back in. So I'll be back in just a couple of minutes, everybody. Alright, now that I got the bracket screwed in on the one side of the drive, you can kind of see that there, go ahead and insert it back into the computer. Basically all this bracket does is it allows it, the 3.5-inch drive to fit in a 5.25-inch bay. So once that's in, just got to go ahead and replace the 2 screws. We got the one on this side here. Now since I don't need to get into this side of the case anymore, I'm going to go ahead and put this side of the case back on. You just line it back up, back in the grooves, like this, and then push it forward. And it snaps right back into place. Now, we'll go back into this side of the case. Go ahead and replace this other screw here. Alright, now, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. It's going to be a little hard. Let me try to replace this in a better angle. What I have to do now is unplug the original floppy drive cable, which is here, and the motherboard connection, which is right down in here. It's actually right on the top here. This kind of hides the cable. Take that out. And that was the original cable. This was just a regular 2-end floppy cable right there. So we're going to go ahead and replace that with this new cable. So I'm assuming the end here that has these kind of clips on them is going to go onto the motherboard, so we'll take care of that first. I know you guys can't see this too well. I apologize for that, but it's a little tight to work in here. I think what I'm going to do is I'll unplug this, maybe give you guys a little bit better view. So you can see the floppy drive cable is right under here. Let's see. Looks like it plugs in just like this. I know my head might get in the way for a second. Alright, now it is plugged into the motherboard. Now we got to do the first floppy drive connector, which is going to go ahead and plug in up here. Let's see how that plugs in. Okay, I believe they plug in opposite, so we're going to try that first. I'm going to go and plug. So I want to do this here. Okay, let's plug the hard drive back in first. Then I'm going to go ahead and plug in the original floppy. Nope, I'm sorry. I'm going to plug the new one in first. Go ahead, and that plugs right up here. I know it's hard for you guys to see at this angle. I'll show you guys what I've done when I'm completed. So, give me just a second. Okay, so basically, you got the floppy drive connector on the motherboard going to the original floppy drive, which is right where the flashlight's pointing now, that one right there, and then also plugged into the new one, which is right up here. Now, one thing I just realized is I don't know if I have a second floppy power cable. We may have to replace this power supply. Let's see what we have here. I'd be surprised if it doesn't, because when this computer was made, there were a lot of floppy drives. Okay, I'll be back in just a minute, everybody. Alright, so I found a solution. In my closet I had this regular 5-pin IDE power connector to a floppy connection. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this in. Then we can go ahead and try and see if my two upgrades work. Boy, you can see that was a tight fit. I had to get the power cable that was down here, push it all the way up here, and then finally have it plug into the new floppy drive right up there. But everything is back together the way it should be, so we're going to go ahead and try the computer. Alright, everything's hooked back up, so let's see how this went. I can see a problem already. I have the floppy drives plugged in backwards, but let's see if at least the hard drives finds the hard drive. Go into setup real quick and see what happens. Found the original Maxter drive. Okay. Huh. Well, that's just my look at luck. It looks like nothing worked. It has found the original Maxter drive, which again is a 4 GB drive. But it did not find anything else, so I'm going to have to take this back apart and see what went wrong. Alright, so I figured out what the problem was. I knew that the floppy disk cables were the wrong way, so I switched them both the opposite. So now that the red bar is facing the power cable, which is kind of funny because generally with floppy drive cables, the red bar faces the opposite. It's not usually like the IDE ones, but not always. And then I found the other problem was because I hooked this hard drive up to the same cable as the CD-Rom drive. The CD-Rom drive was in cable select, and the hard drive was in slave. So what I actually did, so I didn't have to take the hard drive out, I just switched this to the master jumper. So now everything should work. Power on, test again. Well, the 2 floppy drives aren't constantly lit, so that's a good sign. Let's see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and go into setup again. Come on, I'm hoping these drives will light. It's interesting. Alright, we're still not seeing this hard drive for some reason. We got the CD-ROM. Let's go ahead and set the diskette options here. Now we got 2 3¼ floppy disk drives. I don't know why that hard drive is still not showing up. Let's go ahead and do a boot and see if I can get these, see if these floppy drives will work. Okay, got the computer booting right now. And I want to actually just see if these these floppy drives will go ahead and show any kind of activity. They should both do a quick test. I noticed it did actually find the Fujitsu drive this time, so we might be in business here. So we'll be back in just a minute. I'm not sure why the original drive didn't show any activity. I'll have to take a look at that. Alright, we're going to go ahead and try the floppy drive out since it's booted up. I'm going to try the new one first because I think that's what it's doing. I think that it's looking at that as the primary, so that should be the A drive, and let's hit enter. Yeah, that's what it's doing. Do a directory on that. Yeah, it's seeing that as the A drive. So now we know that that's working. Go ahead and try the original drive in here, which I'm hoping is going to be the B drive. Yeah, we got activity. Yep. Okay, that's it. So cool. So now I have an A floppy and a B floppy. So now I can make copies from one to the other. I'm really happy about that. I want to see if the new hard drive is actually being seen. So what we're going to do is we're now going to go back to the C drive. I'm going to go into DOS here. And we're going to do an F disk. Let's see. Okay, that's a good sign. It's telling me that there's an option to change the current disk drive. So we're going to go ahead and do that. 5. Let's see. Okay, yeah, there we go. Looks like, let's see what's going on here. We're going to change to disk drive 2, which is this one here. It looks like that one may not even be partitioned. Let's display what that is actually. Okay, they're 2 non-DOS partitions. So I'm going to go ahead and do, seeing as we're in the fixed drive disk 2, we're going to go ahead and delete both of those non-DOS partitions. We'll go to 4, and we'll delete the second one first. Yes. And now we're going to go ahead and delete the first one. Delete. Again, we got to go to 4 because it's a non-DOS partition for drive 2. So first one, and yes. Okay, so now there are no partitions available for this hard drive. So now we have to go to option 1, which is create one. And I want a primary one, yes. Now, so you ask me, do I want to use the maximum allotted size for this partition? I think it can see up to 4 gigabytes if I'm not mistaken, so I'm going to say yes. Wait a minute. You know what? I'm wrong. I'm going to have to break this up like the other hard drive because I think it can only see maybe up to 2 gigabytes. So we're going to say no. Let's see what we got right here. Yeah, we're going to have to go with 2 gigabyte increments. We're probably actually going to lose a gig, but I'm okay with that. So we'll do it as 2012 megabytes, which is actually 2 gigabytes. So we'll go with that. And there we go. It's made a primary partition. Looks like that is D. Okay, now we're going to go back and we're going to go create a second primary partition. Oh, I'm sorry. In this case, we have to create an extended partition because we've already done a primary. It's been a while since I've done this, guys, so you have to bear with me here. No space to create a DOS partition. Let me see. Display. Good display partitions here. Oh, wait a minute. I might have to create... Okay, I'll probably have to create a logical drive. Let's give that a try. Extended DOS partition. Alright, I'm going to be back in just a couple minutes and see why this is not working. Alright guys, apparently I was wrong on the disk size. This is actually just a 2 gigabyte hard drive. So what I'm going to do is, we're still on the current fixed disk 2. I'm going to go ahead and just create a 2 gigabyte DOS partition. And in this case, I'm going to say yes, use the maximum allotted space available. Primary DOS partition created, drive letters changed or added. Now what I have to do is reboot the computer so it'll go ahead and see this new partition. I'm going to have to go into F-disk again because I'm not sure what drive letter it actually assigned to this. And let's see. Didn't show the Fujitsu drive this time. I wonder why. Alright, let's just go into F-disk. Huh, that's interesting. It's not showing the hard drive. I'm thinking that maybe this Fujitsu drive is no good. Let's go ahead and reboot this one more time and see. go into setup real quick. Yeah, see, it's seeing the Fujitsu drive now. I have a hunch that this might be a bad hard drive. Let me check this out and see what happens. See, you can see that it shows up now in, and it does show as a, let's see, total sectors. Yeah, it shows it is a 4 gigabyte drive, I think. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think there's something going on with this hard drive. So let me look into this a little bit more and I'll be back. Okay, yeah, it definitely looks like we have a bad hard drive, which is kind of a shame because I was really hoping that I might be able to get some backup on here. So we have one successful upgrade and one failed upgrade. So I'm not going to call this an epic fail, but I guess it is still kind of a fail nonetheless. Maybe I'll go ahead and get that compact flash card set up sooner than later. But I am really glad to have the 2 floppy disk drives in here now. That way I can go ahead and make copies. That's something I really want to be able to do with this system. I hope you guys enjoyed this little adventure in the old Dell DOS gaming system. Please like and subscribe. And remember, have a blessed day, everybody.